Namo Narayana, Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Om. Welcome to another Satsang with your host, Chuck the Yogi from the Yogi Cave. Happy Yule, Happy Merry Christmas, whatever it is that you celebrate during this time, this darkest time of the year, as we go through 2020, very memorable year, where Saturn has left his imprint, starting with Saturn conjunct Uranus, beginning of the year, and now ending with a great conjunction, Saturn conjunct Jupiter. So it's been quite a momentous year, and it's a balmy 59 degrees Fahrenheit here in the Yogi Cave, and pardon my raspiness in my voice, I've just been spending all day shoveling and sweeping snow. So let's continue with the Yoga Sutra, see if we can finish this third pada sometime. Alright, let's get to it. We were trying to finish the CD section, so 3.40. Samana Sayaj Jivalanam. Through mastery of the mind breath, he acquires effulgence. So this is a subtle way for Patanjali to talk about Chandali, Tumo, Pranayama, but prana as in an internal heat. Let's understand prana in this context as energy, subtle energy, cold fusion, whatever you want to call it. There's many words for it. Tumo, Chandali, Tapasya, right? So Patanjali knew about this, but he wasn't going to be obvious because the Yoga Sutra is so packaged. There's several layers of interpretation and meaning within this sutra, and I can't get into all of them because that's not the point of this presentation, but I can lay that out for you to munch on for a while. 3.41 Shrotra Akashayoho Sambandha Samyamad Divyam Shrotram. Through constraint on the relation between ear and ether, he acquires the divine ear. Now, this is the idea or notion of gaining an understanding of Nada and Bindu, Nada being the divine vibration or the subtle vibration, and Bindu being the subtle light. So what he's trying to allude to is that a yogi acquires extrasensory perceptions that include smell, tact, hearing, sight, all the senses. And hearing is no difference in this regards. A yogi can acquire an understanding of subtle vibrations and the different means of subtle vibrations, what they mean, what they represent. I'm not going to get into all that. I'm just saying that this is something that the yogi acquires with his practice, with his tapasya, with his yoga. 3.42 Kaya Akashayoho Sambandha Samyaman Lagu Dula Samapatesh Cha Akasha Gamanam. Through constraint on the relation between body and ether, and through the coincidence of consciousness with light objects, such as cotton, he obtains the power of traversing the ether. Now, I'm not going to get literalist about this idea of going through walls and stuff like that. Let's just say that the mind, as a form of consciousness, can traverse space and time. And I'm not going to go any further in that regards, because we don't have to be literalistic about this in any way, shape, or form. 3.43 Bahir Akalpita Vritir Maha Videha Tataha Prakasha Ava Rana Kshayaha. An external, non-imaginary fluctuation of consciousness is the great incorporeal, from which comes the dwindling of the coverings in the inner light. So he's getting into the mechanics of samadhi. Like, what is a yogi or yogini trying to do when he engages in these practices, right? He's trying to thin the layer or the veil between the seen and the unseen, between Prakriti and Purusha, between this construct and that which lies beyond it. So Patanjali is as an engineer of consciousness that he is breaking down the definition of what a yogi is trying to attempt with his practice. 3.44 Stula Svarupa Sukshma Anvaya Artavatva Samyamad Bhuta Jaya. Through constraint on the coarse, the own form, the subtle, the connectedness, and the purposiveness of objects, the yogin gains mastery over the elements. So what does he mean by this? What Patanjali is trying to say, that the yogin or yogini, through his practice, acquires great knowledge through observation. And the yogin or yogini is able to understand past, present, or future any given phenomenon or object. And therefore, the yogin or yogini is able to fully understand any given object or phenomena. And therefore, a yogin or yogini can achieve mastery over these objects or phenomena. So mastery of self implies mastery of that which surrounds the yogin or yogini. And one of the titles that are given to yogis is Swami, which means mastery of one's senses, because mastery of one's senses is a prerequisite in order to achieve mastery of that which surrounds the person, the yogi, the Swami in question. 3.45 Tatonima Adi Pradurbhavaha Kaya Sampat Dharma Anabi Katascha. Thence results the manifestations of the powers such as atomization, perfection of the body, and destructibility of the constituents. Now we're getting into specifically the siddhis, and that's what Patanjali has been doing there in this whole section, but he's kind of bringing it all together in a grand resume, so to speak, of what the yogin or yogini is attempting to achieve. He is attempting to achieve these abilities, these siddhis, and there's different ones of those, such as atomization, animan, mahiman, lagimam, prapti, prakamya, vashitva, ishitritva, kama, vasa, yitva. So these are the 8 wish-fulfilling siddhis. I'm not going to get into details with all this because that can take a whole day. But we don't have to see these siddhis or powers literally. We can also see these siddhis or powers in terms of consciousness, such as atomization, to be able to constrain the consciousness into a very small point, as well as magnification, to be able to see the bigger picture of any given phenomena. And levitation doesn't have to be literal. We can do levitation in terms of our own consciousness to externalize our consciousness outside of this body form. Freedom of will, that just means that the yogin or yogini is not constrained by any given thing. The yogin or yogini is free to make the choices a yogin or yogini needs to make at the moment. And mastery of the entire creation, we don't have to get into this literally as if the yogin or yogini were beyond the bounds of nature. But the yogin or yogini understands the laws of nature so well that the yogin or yogini can bend these here and there to suit the given purpose. power of creation and power of wish fulfillment. Again, these are just understandings as to what a yogin can do once they achieve mastery over these, all the preliminaries that lead to the siddhis. And again, siddhis can be very distracting. If we get caught up in the idea of occult powers and so on, these can be very distracting. So it's really important that the yogin understand the bigger picture. As I say, God is in the bigger picture and the devil's in the details. So we have to be careful about getting caught up in these details of these siddhis rather than seeing the bigger picture, which is liberation, samadhi. Alright, let's leave it there because that was quite a full mouthfuls and we are getting close to ending the third pada. We may be able to do that before the year's out. We'll see. Om Namo Narayana, Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva Om, Shiva Hom, Jai Ma, Jai Mahaka. Till next time.